Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We are learning Mishnah Nazir, Parakeh, Chapter 5, Mishnah Vav, Mishnah 6. Now, quick introduction. This Mishnah continues dealing with the case discussed in the previous Mishnah. Remember that case? Now, the case being where somebody was approaching, and before he came, they started making predictions who this person is. And to show how certain they were about their prediction, they were saying, I am a Nazir. I'm a Nazir if it's so-and-so. But they really meant to say that, they were assuming they're going to become a Nazir because they were so sure it was that person. And then it came to not being that person. And we had all the different combinations of the different people of what they said to make themselves a Nazir. And at the end of the day, Beis Hillel says that the only one who's a Nazir is the one who turns out being right. If it doesn't turn out being right, according to Beis Hillel, it's just like it's a mistake. If it's a mistake, it's not going to work. Beis Shammai disagreed. Beis Shammai said that even if it's a mistake, it's going to take effect. Beis Hillel said whatever was a mistake doesn't take effect. Whatever was not mistaken takes effect. So the person who said, I'm a Nazir if it's so-and-so, and it is so-and-so, right, he becomes a Nazir. Anybody who made himself a Nazir based on his becoming a Nazir becomes a Nazir. Whoever said it's not this person will not become a Nazir. And according to Reb Tarfon in the previous Mishnah, even if it comes out that you're right, you're still not going to be a Nazir because Reb Tarfon learns that you have to be clear, you have to be certain you're becoming a Nazir when you make the vow of Nazirus. Now, our Mishnah is now going to take the same story, but the story goes like this. So they saw this guy approaching, and everybody's starting to say who it is and making their Nazirus based on it. And then you know what happened? He turned around and walked away. So he never found out who that person was. He walked out onto this. We walked out onto the sunset, and we don't know who he is. So nobody knows what's going on now. So we see Allah Chayrav. If let's say he turned around and went back, ain't a Nazir. Even Beis Hillel are going to say, this man's not a Nazir. The reason, according to Beis Hillel, he's not going to be a Nazir is the following. Let me read to you here from the bottom. As a rule, we assume that a person wants his vow to take effect only if it means that he will be a definite Nazir, not if it will lead to a situation in which he cannot be sure if he's a Nazir. In the case before where the guy showed up, you know what happened. Reb Tarfon said you have to know what's going on when you make the vow. But Beis Hillel doesn't agree with that. And as long as at the end of the day it turns out that you're right, you're going to be a Nazir. But a person only wants to make himself a Nazir in a situation where he knows he's going to be, he knows he's supposed to be, he knows he's a Nazir. Not to be put into a situation where he's really not sure what his status is. Therefore, when someone makes a vow, it is as though he says, if it will turn out that we cannot say for certain whether I must keep the vow, then I do not mean to make the vow at all. We understand, that's a person's intent. For this reason, even though one of these people was right, because one of them was right, apparently, maybe you can say, maybe it was a third person, I don't know. It seems to be that we're assuming it was one of two people, but we don't know for sure at the end. So even though one of these people was right, neither of them is going to be a Nazir. Because even if you don't hold like Reb Tarfon, at the end of the day, a person doesn't want to make a neder, a vow, in which at the end of the day, he's led into a situation where he's really not sure what his status is. So it's like an understanding that no one means to make a Nazir under those circumstances. Therefore, the Mishnah says, if he went back in a Nazir, he's not a Nazir, meaning no one's a Nazir. Reb Shimon Oimer. Reb Shimon says no. Reb Shimon disagrees with the previous Tana, and he holds that when a person makes a vow of Nazirus, he does not automatically mean to exclude any cases that leave him in doubt. And therefore, all of these people are possibly Nazirim, right? Because somebody was right. Therefore, Reb Shimon Oimer, so what do you do? What are you supposed to do in this kind of situation where you don't know if you're a Nazir or not? So Yoimar, each person says, Im haya kidvarai, if it was like my words, Hareini Nazir Chayva, then that means I am in a Nazir Chayva here means I am an already obligated Nazir. That means I made a vow Nazirus, the vow was the condition. The vow was made if it's so and so. If it was so and so, then I already have a Naziris based on my previous vow. The imlav, and if not, already Nazir Nadava. I am now a voluntary Nazir. Means I'm making myself a Nazir now. So he's covering all bases. If I was right, and therefore I'm already a Nazir, so I'm already a Nazir. And if I wasn't right, I am making myself a Nazir right now. And therefore, by doing that, he covers all the possibilities. And basically, anybody of the other people who also would get caught up in this doubt would have to do the same thing. But the point of Reb Shimon is, Reb Shimon says that a person would put himself, for a person who makes a vow, he does not automatically exclude a case that leaves him in doubt. If there'll be a doubt, he'll have to deal with it. And Reb Shimon tells us how to deal with it. But Beis Hillel, on the other hand, hold a person would not make a neder if it results in just him being in a situation of doubt. And therefore, Beis Hillel said he's not a Nazir. Tanakama, being Beis Hillel, said he's not a Nazir. And the halacha is like the Tanakama and not like Reb Shimon. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.